When two HOA officers stormed onto my porch demanding payment for made-up violations, I thought it was just another HOA stunt. But when they shoved my wife and broke her arm, I realized something darker was at play. 5 minutes later, the truth came out, and so did my shotgun. The evening sun dipped low, spilling amber light across the fields behind our house. My wife Lila was setting dinner when the knock came, 3 hard, deliberate bangs that rattled the front door. We'd lived in our new neighborhood less than 6 months. It was a quiet cul-de-sac on the outskirts of Ridge Hollow, peaceful, open, far enough from town to hear coyotes at night. But there was one catch: the Meadowgate Homeowners Association. The HOA had been trouble from day one. Petty fines, random inspections, endless emails about mailbox height or lawn color. I'd ignored most of it until last week, when we got a $500 security assessment for unauthorized exterior lighting. We didn't even have lights installed yet. I wiped my hands and opened the door. 2 men stood there, black uniforms, gold badges glinting under the porch light, tactical vests with HOA security enforcement stitched across the chest. "Evening," the taller one said. "We're with Meadowgate Enforcement. Need to discuss your unpaid violation fees." I frowned. "Enforcement? You mean the HOA?" The shorter one smirked. "Yeah, we handle compliance for the board. You've ignored multiple notices. We're here to collect or file immediate escalation." Lila appeared behind me, confusion etched on her face. "You can't just show up at night demanding money," she said. "We already disputed those fees." The tall man stepped forward, boots creaking against the porch. "Ma'am, we don't argue violations. Either pay tonight or you'll be cited for non-compliance. The HOA board authorized us to act." I felt something tighten in my chest. Their tone wasn't official and it was threatening. "Authorized? You mean your cops?" He grinned. "Close enough." That's when I noticed their badges didn't list any county department. Just the HOA logo. No official insignia. No name tags. And their sidearms looked off. "Not standard issue. This is private property," I said firmly. "You need to leave." The short one took a step forward, his hand hovering near his belt. "We'll leave when this is resolved." Lila reached for her phone. "I'm calling the sheriff." That's when it happened. The tall one grabbed her wrist. Hard. She screamed in pain, her phone clattering to the ground. The snap echoed like a twig underfoot. My stomach dropped. "Hey!" I lunged forward, shoving him off. Lila cradled her arm, tears streaking down her face. "You broke her arm!" Before I could react further, they both backed off the porch, shouting, "You assaulted an officer!" "You'll regret that." But they didn't make it to the end of the driveway before my cameras caught them, and my instincts kicked in. I dialed the sheriff. "This is Jack Carter out on Miller Creek Road. 2 men just attacked my wife. They're dressed like cops, but they're not." The dispatcher's voice came back tense. "Stay inside, Mr. Carter. Deputies are on their way." Do not engage, but I couldn't wait. Not after what they'd done. I carried Lila to the couch, her face pale from pain. "Don't move," I said, wrapping her arm with a towel. "Help's coming." Outside, I saw headlights flicker through the pines. The fake cops hadn't left. They were parked halfway down the driveway, arguing with someone over a radio. I opened the gun cabinet. My father's old Remington 870, loaded, clean, ready. I stepped onto the porch. My heart hammered in my chest, but my voice came out steady. "You've got 30 seconds to leave before real law enforcement gets here." The tall man laughed from the shadows. "You think the sheriff cares about you? We are law enforcement here." That's when the second SUV rolled in, one of my neighbors, David Holloway, pulling up fast. He jumped out, shouting, "What the hell's going on?" I heard Lila screaming. Before I could answer, one of the fake officers pointed a weapon, a taser, I think, at David. "Back in your car." The man barked. David froze. "That's not real police gear," he said quietly. "You guys aren't legit." In the distance, I finally heard it. Sirens, faint but closing fast. The tall man cursed, turning toward his partner. "Go now!" They tried to bolt. But the moment they hit the gravel road, 2 sheriff cruisers came flying around the bend, lights flashing. The men froze like deer in headlights. "Down on the ground!" Sheriff Dalton roared through the speaker. It was over in seconds. The real deputies had them cuffed face down in the dirt before I could even lower my shotgun. Dalton approached, eyes narrowing as he studied their uniforms. "These aren't my men," he said grimly. "Who the hell are you?" The shorter man muttered something about authorized contractors. Dalton's expression hardened. Contractors don't carry fake badges and sidearms. He turned to me. We'll take it from here. Get your wife to the hospital. Lila winced as EMTs loaded her into the ambulance. I followed close behind, my anger simmering beneath shock. At the hospital, X-rays confirmed it. Clean fracture, but she'd need surgery. They just grabbed me, she whispered through tears. Like they were trying to make an example out of us. I held her hand gently. They'll pay for this. When I returned home later that night, a deputy was still on scene. He looked uneasy. You'll want to hear this, sir, he said. We ran their plates. They don't exist. The SUV's stolen from a security company in another county. And the HOA? I asked. He hesitated. That's the thing. The HOA denies hiring any enforcement contractors. Said those guys aren't on record anywhere. A chill ran down my spine. Then who sent them? The deputy's jaw tightened. We're going to find out. The next week was chaos. The sheriff's office launched an official investigation, and suddenly, Meadowgate HOA's polished image started to crumble. Turns out, those officers weren't security guards at all. They were hired muscle from a shell company linked to the HOA treasurer, a man named Peter Hargrove. According to Dalton, Hargrove had been quietly funneling HOA funds into private compliance initiatives. He'd hired the fake cops to intimidate homeowners who questioned his fees. Lila and I were just unlucky enough to be next on the list. The footage from my security cameras sealed their fate. Clear images of both men assaulting Lila and impersonating officers. News vans parked outside our gate within days. Iowa fraud ring exposed in Ridge Hollow, the headlines blared. When the county prosecutor announced charges, assault, impersonating law enforcement, extortion, and fraud, the community exploded. Homeowners packed the HOA meetings, demanding resignations. By the end of the month, the entire board had stepped down. Lila's recovery was slow, but she was strong. Every physical therapy session reminded me why I'd refused to let it go. One evening, as the sun set over the ridge, Sheriff Dalton stopped by. Thought you'd like to know, he said, leaning on his cruiser. Those guys took a plea. They're talking. What about Hargrove? I asked. Facing 10 years minimum, Dalton said. He's the one who hired them. Tried to pass it off as an overzealous enforcement program. Judge didn't buy it. I nodded, staring out toward the fields. Lila still wakes up some nights thinking she hears knocking. Dalton's voice softened. That kind of thing doesn't fade easy. But you did right. Most people would have let it go. You stood your ground, I smiled faintly. Guess I inherited my dad's stubborn streak, he chuckled. Good thing you did. HOA thought they ran this place. Turns out justice still does. After he left, I walked down to the gate, where the bullet-riddled HOA security enforcement sign still hung crookedly. I pulled it off and tossed it into the fire pit. The flames devoured it quickly, sparks flying into the cool night air. Lila came out, her arm still in a soft brace. You think it's really over? She asked. Maybe not for them, I said, wrapping an arm around her. But for us, yeah. We're home now, she smiled softly. Then let's keep it that way. The crickets sang, and for the first time in weeks, the night felt still, peaceful, ours again. Because when fake cops show up under the banner of an HOA and hurt the wrong woman, they don't just break the law. They break the illusion of control, and some of us fight back.